Hiya, ladies and gents, I'm back. Yeah, I'm going to read the Gospel of chapter 12 in verse 34 when Jesus was talking to the crowds and the crowds answer him. Don't forget, you're going to look at the cultural contents of that time. When Jesus of this time was talking to them. Right. They said, and then this is verse 34, Gospel of John chapter 12 and verse 34. The crowds answer him, saying, "We have heard from the law that the Messiah remains forever." Now, let's just say, the word Messiah actually means Christ, and Christ means anointed. Alright? But Jesus came under the Melchizedek order. The crowds of that time and the religious cultural contents, they were under the Levitical law of Moses, the Mosaic law of the Old Covenant system. They believed that the Messiah was a literal king, as in the worldly kingdom. And Jesus said his kingdom was not of this world. Okay? And then they said, "How can you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is that Son of Man?" Alright? Jesus said to them, "The light is with you for a little longer. Walk while you have the light, so that the darkness may not overcome you. If you walk in darkness, you do not know where you are going. While you have the light, believing in the light, so that you may become children of light." Can I move just down to verse 34? Then Jesus said to the crowd, "Whoever believes in me believes not in me, but in God who sent me, the living Father. And whoever sees me sees the living Father or Mother who has sent me. I have come as a light into the world, so that everyone who believes in me should not remain in darkness." Okay? "I do not judge anyone who hears my word and does not keep them. For I have not come out to judge the world, but to save the world. For the one who rejects me does not receive my word, has the judge." And who's that judge? The judge was Moses. Alright? Because he says, "Judge not, lest you be judged." And Jesus says, Moses was the accuser. Moses is your judge. Because the Levitical priesthood of blessings and curses, you'd be judged if you're not following the law of Moses. But you have the blessings if you follow the law of Moses, but curses and judgments if you don't follow the law of Moses. That's partaking in the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Jesus came under the Melchizedek order, not the Levitical priesthood, because Jesus partaked the tree of life, which is a Melchizedek order of the priesthood of El Elyon, the Most High God. Because Melchizedek came to bless Abram with bread and wine, which is a representation of the new covenant, the new Jerusalem, the heavenly Jerusalem within. Jesus came under the Melchizedek. Jesus was that Melchizedek, because where Abram was, there I am also. Alright? So when Jesus uplifted Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, he put down Moses. Alright? Because Moses and Aaron was the Levitical priesthood of the little carnal nature at Mount Sinai, where there is sin and death. Okay? Now that was from the verse 44 in the Gospel of John chapter 12. We're just gone through verse 34 down to 36, then moving on from verse 44 to, I think it was 47. Or 48. It says in 48, whoever rejects me, whoever rejects me does not receive my the one who rejects me does not receive my word has the judgment. That's verse 48, I believe. On the last day, the word that I have spoken will serve as a judge. Do you know, he was talking to the people of his day. Okay. In John chapter 1, in the beginning was the Word, which the Word was the Logos, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. God was in the beginning. He was in the beginning, and she was the beginning with God. He, which is the word Christ, it doesn't have a pronouns as such. Christ means anointment, which is from an esoteric standpoint is talking about the sacred secretion within. And the age of enlightenment is within. Alright. Wisdom was in the beginning with God, and knowledge was in the beginning of God. All things came into being through him, through the God, and without God nothing came into being. What came into being within God was life, and where there is life there is light, and life was the light of people. Light shines into darkness, and darkness could not overcome it. In other words, the darkness did not recognize the light. To partake in the tree of life is to partake in the tree of light, because where there is life internal with peace, inner peace, and life, there is light. And moving down to the verse 9, 9 is in the number of conscience. The true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. Alright. Christ is the true light. Christ's conscience is the true light that enlightens everyone. Have you ever heard of quantum physics, of the photons that is the light energy particles within? The biophotons within your heart and mind? Right. Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light, and God saw that the light was good. In verse 4. Verse 3 to verse 4. I repeat. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. And light, God saw that the light was good. And he separated the light from darkness. Alright. When Eve and Adam took part in the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they partake in the carnality, duality, curses and blessings of Moses, of the Mosaic covenant with the Israelites. The old covenant system was of the barbaric mindset of the barbaric nature, starting with Cain, who slew his brother Abel. Okay. Cain was a murderer from the beginning. Abel was a spiritual minded. Cain was carnal minded. Abel was spiritually minded. Your carnal minded is an entity against your spiritual mind. So we naturally have carnality and duality within us. Anyway, I hope this little lesson helped you. I hope I hope you resonate with this message. And one more thing. First John chapter 1, somewhere down the lines of like, God is light, and in him there is no darkness. In God there is no darkness. Okay, let's just take care in how you interpret the scripture, because it's not all as it seems. Alright, God is light. If Jesus can partake in the tree of life, he says you can as well, and in the better works you can do to partake in the tree of life, because you can manifest your own reality, my friends. The tree of life is within you, for the kingdom of God's within you. I hope this message helps you. Let it resonate. And Sufism, which is the esoteric aspect of Islam, talks about the quantum physics as well as esoteric Christianity, and Kabbalism, which is esoteric Judaism, aspect of Judaism. Now, they're talking about the light, okay? In fact, the word Quran, in its own words, says light, which means that it is self-manifestation, manifestation of the light, with no need of external agent to be made manifest. Other things need light, which become visible and manifest. With it, Allah, which means God in Arabic language, guides those who pursue God's pleasures to the ways of peace, the inner peace, and brings them out from darkness into the light by God's will. Alright? And guides them to the straight path, the narrow way. Okay? Now the kingdom God's within. And I'm going to read. In this respect, it is like the author and the speaker says this. Who is the light of the heavens and the earth? There's 7 heavens within you. The earth is the flesh, which is what we're made out of, clay. But earth also can mean the heart, the universe of your heart. Don't forget, the Bible and the Quran is full of metaphors, which is figures of speeches and allegories, and the parables of the story of the kingdom God within, which coincides with a lot of science and sacred geometry, which is the art of science, alright? And quantum physics, quantum mechanics, the existence of being light. Okay? In other words, light is within. Sufism is a mystic, esoteric aspect of Islam, which is Sufi Muslim, like it's spiritual enlightenment, not the dogma side of it. So the Bible and the Quran is not supposed to be taken at literal face value. So anyway, beloved my brothers and sisters, let the love and light come to existence. I pray this has been a blessing for you. Somewhere to be. Namaste. Bye for now.